before market open, I also want to get in my other guest who's joining me now live. Sandeep Raina, who's the Exec VP Research at Nuvama Professional Clients Group, joining in this morning. Great to have you on the show, Sandeep. Before the markets open, want to quickly get in your thoughts on what do you really make of the weakness in the broader market. Do you think a deeper correction is, on the anvil, or do you think this is a much needed correction after the breakneck rally that we've seen?
Hi, good morning. So see, it's very difficult to time the market. I don't know whether today is the bottom or maybe after 5 days the bottom will be formed. But what is most important to understand is we have to look for stocks which are reasonably good and have corrected. And there are multiple stocks which have corrected 15% odd. Maybe on the large cap side, we have not seen that kind of degrowth in the stock or the stock correction. But in mid cap or maybe small cap, we have seen good amount of corrections. There are reasonably good stocks which have corrected 20-30%. Now, having said that, the basic underline is very simple. Just look for stocks which are where the business is not changing. See, this correction is not changing the way business has been run. So business, if we expect it to grow at 20%, it will still grow at 20%. Right? The cash flows were supposed to be strong. It will still be strong. So focus on those stocks which have corrected and the business model is not changing. Your EPS is not changing. Then go for it.
Right, Sandeep, hold that thought. I'll come back to you, and we'll talk about specific, sectors and stocks as well. But let's take a look at what the markets are doing. Of course, we have opened week today as well. The Nifty is below that 21,950 mark, around about that level at the current juncture. If you look at the mid cap end of the markets, another 1% cut coming in there. I also want to take a look at the small cap index, how that's faring, because yesterday we saw a 5% downtick on the small cap index, another 1% cut coming in. So not a very deep cut coming in, but the texture remains on the weaker side. Let's also pull up some of the sectors. The Nifty Bank index is down 0.5%. Let's pull up the realty pack. The realty index has been on a in a downward trend in the last couple of sessions. It has lost somewhere around 7 to 8%. Today, it's down somewhere around 2% or thereabouts. Looking at the metal pack as well, yesterday that sector lost somewhere around 6%. IT is down just about marginally in the negative zone. Metals are down another 0.5%. If you look at some of the movers, on the downside, Bajaj Finance, that's the top Nifty loser. Bajaj Auto, life insurance names like HDFC Life, SBI Life, even the metal names, as I was mentioning yesterday, that was among the top losers on sectorally. So Tata Steel, JSW Steel, all these metal names under pressure. You have Dr. Reddy's, Tech Mahindra, Titan, all of these stocks under pressure. But let's also pull up a Reliance Industries and see how it's doing in today's session. Of course, there is news flow that it will be buying out 13% stake in Viacom, 18% from Paramount. So, of course, Reliance in the green, 0.8% kind of gain coming in there. So, on the upside, and other stocks that are doing well today are Coal India. That this stock was down 7.5% yesterday. Today, it has seen some bit of rebound. So, that's why Coal India, of course, 2% up. Hindalco, BPCL, Hero Moto, aside of Reliance Industries, Infosys, Sun Pharma, M&M, HCL Tech. So some bit of buying coming in some of the IT names. But, let's also pull up the CPSC ETF index and see how the PSU pack is really doing. Stocks like RVNL, BEL, BDL, these stocks are some things, some of the stocks that saw some bit of pressure from, all-time highs. Let's see how some of these PSU names are doing in today's session. We'll come back to that, but Sandeep is waiting by. Sandeep, let's talk about the PSU pack in particular, right? I mean, I was just reading your Nuvama note yesterday. Mutual funds have exited some of the PSU names completely, right? Do you think this is a much needed correction that the PSU stocks warranted? Or do you think, that was a rally that was largely, driven by euphoria, especially from retail investors, and not backed by fundamentals? How would you look at the PSU pack going forward now?
So firstly, I would just like to add, it was not backed by any other thing. It was backed hardcore by fundamentals. See, in PSU also, we have to understand what are we picking. If we talk about the PSU in the defense sector like HAL and BDL and other companies like Masdog and all, there is a hardcore fundamental change. There is a growth that we're seeing. The kind of investment government is talking about in defense is phenomenal. The kind of Indianization that will happen in this sector will be phenomenal. So it is not based on just news or something. It's actually hardcore number. But yes, these are lumpy businesses. They will take some time, but actually there will be earning going forward. So PSU we have to categorize. So defense is a great sector in PSU space that we should be looking at. Railways, amazing sector because the kind of investment. See, it's very simple. The way government is talking about the investments in India in the core sectors, that will actually lead all these companies to far better numbers in terms of PAT, in terms of EPS, and in terms of then the valuation will also move up. So those are sectors in banking also, like SB and Bob looks interesting. So we have to divide these sectors and then look at company which to buy. I will not be buying any and every PSU. So we have to define those PSU. So these sectors looks interesting, the PSU categories also.
So which is the pocket where you see froth building within the PSU pack? When you say you have to be selective, which is that pocket which you feel one should avoid right now?
See, there are a lot of small banks which have just run up very significantly. I think we should be looking at valuations also. There are a lot of banks which are at 2.5 time booked because then I'm getting a larger bank also 2.5 time book. So I'll prefer those rather than those smaller PSUs. So that is why we have to categorize based on the valuation of the growth of those PSU companies. So I will not define these companies as PSU, non-PSU. I'll define as core sectors. So for me, the way to look at stock market is based on sectors. It is not private or public because if there's a growth in the public sector bank or public sector companies or undertaking like BHEL, I mean, there is a hardcore change happening in the business. So why not people will buy BHEL? So it's as simple as that.
Right. And what are your thoughts on the NBFC space, particularly the likes of IIFL Finance and GM Financial? Of course, there's been a crackdown there, and we've got a downgrade as well coming in on IIFL Finance this morning. Do you think NBFC pocket should be completely avoided at the current juncture?
I think right now, I think NBFC should be avoided in sense, but we should monitor the news flows. And it's not like Bajaj Finance is looking phenomenal at these valuations, if you ask me. But yes, there are so many news flows happening that we should be generally avoiding and keeping a watch, because there will be a time when we'll be investing in these companies also. But yes, right now, the kind of news flow that we're having, I think it should wait and watch. And it's not important that we catch the falling knife. It's okay. Maybe we'll buy at 10% higher also. I don't know. But I'm saying the important thing is just stay away from these companies right now, but keep a hardcore watch because these are good businesses. It's just that there are news flows or something is not going in the favor. Just avoid them for the time being.
All right. Any thoughts on Yes Bank? There are reports that it is looking for, looking to sell 51% stake, looking to, at a valuation of $7 to $8 billion or thereabouts. Report based, but do you see that? Do you say that these valuations are a little elevated? What are your thoughts there?
Frankly, I've not worked on this in detail so that I can comment on that. But I would not know. So, yeah, on Yes Bank.
Right. Of course, after the block deal in ITC, what are your thoughts there? Would you say that a major overhang has been removed now? And what should be the next key trigger that you would be watching out for ITC in terms of earnings?
See, ITC is a reasonable good stock, but I don't think so with this 3.5% stake that overhang is gone, because there's still a lot of people who have the stake and they would want to buy, but they would want to sell, but there's nothing specific right now. So there's no change in the sense what happened, let's say 30 days back or 40 days back and what is happening today. It's a reasonable stock, and selling, it's not that selling will come at one go. Nothing like that. It's a reasonable stock. Whosoever will sell, they have large chunks, and of course, they'll speak to big buyers and then only the deal will happen. It's not that they will upload everything in the market and the stock will crash. Nothing like that happens actually in big stocks.
All right, Sandeep, with that, I would thank you for taking out time and joining in this morning. Appreciate your, sharing your thoughts with us, but look forward to having a longer conversation with you sometime soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Let's also bring on board